The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Let me be your lighthouse so I can show you the way. Let me be your shining light, I'll keep you from drifting away.
Hello, this is Patty Hunter of Patty's Page. Today we are in Studio B. I'm with my co-host, John Dickmeyer. Hello.
Hello, Patty.
And to his right is Kimberly Cates. Hello.
It's a pleasure to be here.
A politician candidate.
Yes.
So, what are you running for, my dear?
I'm running for the Indiana District 22 House seat, and I have an opponent May 8th. So,
That's
yes,
next week.
Next week, yes.
Wow.
It's Indiana primary time again, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
Can you tell us a little bit about the journey that you're making as a candidate? What do you have to do to run for the Indiana General Assembly?
Well, you know, the biggest thing that I've found is to listen. When I was approached, I'm currently serving on the Kosciuszko County Council, and some of the leadership in that community business and a local government leadership came to me and said, why don't you research this? We feel we can do better, have better representation. And so I actually went on a 3-month listening tour, and I spoke with business owners, different legislators, citizens of the community, and so that guided me. You know, I have a background in township boards and in tax, and so and actually in fire territories. So all of those things put together, I understand a lot of the challenges in government type of issues. And so I just thought that it might be the best for our district if we had better representation. So I decided to get involved.
So how did you manage to get your name on the ticket, so to speak?
You know, I had several people encouraging me. You just go to Indianapolis and you file. It's not a long process for this particular seat. You don't have to have a lot of names on an endorsing ballot. But I went and signed up, and I have received enormous support from my community. I've been involved in our community. I serve in Rotary and many other different organizations and committees, so I'm very involved.
What are these committees and whatever you...
Well, I serve on, we have a call to action. It's an opioid call to action committee, and what we're doing, it works with people with the Bowen Center, people with organizations like Bridges to Hope, and what we're trying to do is educate the community on how we can better help and eliminate the opioid drug abuse program. And so we actually have an upcoming event, serve on that board. I've served on many boards. I was fortunate on the daycare board that I served on in Syracuse. I served on that board 10 years. We were actually the very first program to have latchkey in the state of Indiana, which is before and after school care for young children. And as a team, I mean, it wasn't me, as a team, our board was able to work with the school and the legislators and so forth to instigate that. And that was actually over 20 years ago that we did that. So I've been involved in our community for a very long time.
Do you pass bills yourself?
We do not pass bills in the county.
Right.
We approve the budgets and so forth on the county council.
So that involves really doing fiscal management for the county,
Yes.
and that's difficult. And of course, that's good preparation for the Indiana House, because that's where all the nice money bills start, and you have to do a lot of that work there.
Yes, we do. We've been really fortunate. We have a great team on the council right now. We have been working on strategic planning, have a committee for that. We've, the Indiana State Legislature has given counties the tool of the wheel tax. And actually, we're really proud that we only are at about half of the amount that we can actually charge. And a lot of people don't realize that it could be a lot higher. And we have a committee formed to really study that, to see if there's any way we can, we can make it easier for people, if there's anything that needs to be less or anything that needs to be more. But we're really trying to do the best with the tools that we have. And so really, really very fortunate to have a great team on the council.
So you grew up in Warsaw, and
Yeah, I graduated from Warsaw. I wasn't born in Warsaw, but I graduated from high school, and I have lived in this area. I live in Syracuse. I've lived in the area about 40 years now, and raised my children here.
oh, you got children?
Yes, I have 2 wonderful children. They're adults, and a grandchild, and have
my.
great husbands. So I have a lot of I'm very blessed.
You
Very
don't
blessed.
look like a grandmother.
Oh, well, thank you very
Oh,
much.
Thanks.
A lot of people in Allen County don't know a lot about Kosciuszko County, but the
Right.
Syracuse area is really a fabulous vacation area. A wonderful part of the state that many of us should know a whole lot more about.
Yes, we're very lucky. I love boating. I love being on the water, and it's a great area to be involved in. I'm just pretty lucky
blessed.
to be there. Yes, I am. Yes,
So
I am.
your experience in small business.
Yes, I have been in business most of my life, either in management positions or ownership positions. I just sold a franchise this last year, which allows me to be more involved right now. And it's interesting because when I went on the county council, I was so lucky because I was able to meet with the department heads and really dig into finding out what their needs were, what the county needs are. And in talking with them, just listening to those people and the citizens has really educated me. I mean, along with, having business experience, I think it's really important to know what your constituents want and the taxpayers want, what
What do
they
they
want.
need? What do they need?
Oh, well, it's a variety of things.
Education, job skills.
I serve on the KEDCO board, which is an economic development board in Kosciuszko County. And, the challenges that they face are, affordable housing, the job skills, child care, the job skills programs that are trying to be initiated between schools and businesses and farms to incorporate not just the traditional educational training, but to actually incorporate more of the technical and non-traditional trades, which is where we really feel that, there's a need there.
Is it a rural area?
It's both. It's a lot of farmland and a lot of rural, and but yet there's a lot of industry and manufacturing in that area. We are really blessed to have a great mix. And people who are in orthopedics or RV or farm, a lot of them can make a very good living without having a 4-year degree. CNC machining, different type of technical skills. We even are very close to a training facility that even does like the heavy equipment. So there are so many options that are non-traditional, and I think that it's important for me. That is one of my goals, is to, if I'm elected, that hopefully more industries and manufacturers can work with the schools and educate the kids and the parents, because it's a mindset, that, if the child isn't a great candidate to go to a 4-year school,
Trade
go
school?
to a trade school,
Trade
become a
school,
journeyman. there are so many different opportunities in our area, and so it's great to be able to have those opportunities and to encourage that working together as a team to do that.
Well, we've hit one of the hot topics for this election. Let's go on to one of the other topics, and one of them that is always an issue it is the Second Amendment issue, the right to bear arms. Where do you stand on that issue?
Well, I stand with the NRA. I believe that we need to stand with the Constitution. I'm very in favor of keeping the Constitution intact. I stand for the Second Amendment. I believe that that is a right that we need to fight for and keep. My opponent and I have very similar views on that subject, except there's one large difference. The NAGR wants, which is an endorser of my opponent, and his view is that there should be no background checks or carry permits.
Well, that's not right.
And then myself, I agree with the NRA, and I believe that it's okay, even though I know I have the right to buy a gun. But if I want to carry a loaded handgun on my person, I believe that it's okay if I have a background check and have a permit in that instance. And so there's a difference in the, a technical difference in our philosophies on how we view the Second Amendment.
Well, you know that this thing with all the kids in schools, especially Parkland,
Yes.
people are trying to stop people from getting guns.
Yes.
The whole lot. I mean, and then they're saying, oh, that person was mentally ill. They did this. Half of the people who do shooting up the schools are mentally ill. So they're zeroing on the mentally ill as well. Not all mentally ill people are going to be like that. So that's there's a fine line right there.
Well, and I think right now, all community governments and, at whatever level, they are looking at all the different ways that, they can keep the kids safe. I'm a believer in local control, small, frugal government with local control.
Right.
And, I know Indiana's looking at school safety, and I truly believe there's not a one-size-fits-all school safety program. There are many options out there, and I know that they're looking at a lot of different options right now. But I believe, depending on the building, depending on really the structure and things like that, there are many different options that, each school system can take. And I agree, it's too bad that we focus on the gun. We need to focus on the person,
Right.
because guns don't hurt people. It's the person who's shooting the gun that hurts the person.
Because
So
not every person that uses a gun on someone else is mentally ill.
that's true.
So you got to be able to know the difference.
Yes.
And that's where, it's a touchy situation.
It is a touchy situation, and I think we have very proactive. I think we have a pretty proactive legislation right now, and I think even local officials are being very proactive to look at the different options that are available and really researching them before they implement them, because they're very expensive, and we don't want to waste the taxpayer dollars. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, you are pro-life,
Yes, I am. Absolutely.
opposing abortion.
Yes.
And what else are your views on pro-life?
Well, I believe that, life begins at conception. I believe that I stand with the Indiana Right to Life views. And I believe that, we need to work to save lives, whether it's through, an anti-abortion or a pro-life legislation type of ruling, or we need to, work to save lives, whether it's through the opioid crisis. And for me, I think the biggest difference between myself and my opponent is that the Indiana Right to Life does not endorse my opponent, and they do not endorse his bill, which is HB 1097.
Yes.
It says and it's because of multiple reasons. One of the reasons is because of the verbiage. It says that between pages 13 to 15, it says that the state would have precedence over the federal government law. And so immediately that is just looking at many, many millions in lawsuits. But secondly, it says that if a mother were facing death and she were carrying a child and she chose her own life, that mother may be criminally charged for murder, and the doctor and the person who drives her to the hospital. And I don't feel that that's a government choice, and I don't feel that that's a government ruling, and neither does Indiana Right to Life, Allen County Right to Life, or North Central Right to Life, which is the Warsaw affiliate of Indiana Right to Life.
So you're with them?
So I am absolutely, I stand firm with them, and unfortunately there's been talk from other pro-life organizations saying that, we may not be right to life enough, which is too bad. But no, I stand firm with Indiana Right to Life.
And we stand firm with Allen County Right to Life here in Fort Wayne.
Yes, yes. So. And so I believe that, just with him not being endorsed by Indiana Right to Life is huge. And that really shows the extent of him not being supported, shows a huge reflection on that bill and his position. Many other representatives are being endorsed. He's been in 4 years, and typically if you are writing pro-life legislation, you would be endorsed by Indiana Right to Life, as Representative Holdman and Senator Long and different representatives. So to me, that's a huge difference, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Do you work along with your senator in your area?
Oh, absolutely.
Who's that?
We have Senator Ryan Mishler, and he is also pro-life.
That's good.
We're very fortunate. Ryan has been around a long time, and he is very influential. We're very excited, to have a representative or have a senator that is representing us so well. We're really, really blessed.
You know what makes me a little bit sad is that we have to say we're pro-life, we're fighting for our kids here in the United States.
Yes, it is sad. It is sad. And, in fighting for your kids, to me, that means you should do it year-round. One of the things that I find is that, looking back, trying to prepare to run, you have to kind of make a resume or write down things that you've done, and a lot of things you don't do because you were going to write them down. So it's interesting to the fact that, I feel like I've been very involved in our community with daycares and so forth.
Yes.
So whether it's at conception or throughout, working with CASA program.
Everybody has a right to life.
That's right. And doing it year round and not just coming out and being involved during the election cycle time, but actually being involved year round.
People know that.
Yes.
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 It's the whole issue of campaign promises. I think it's become more vogue in recent years and in recent months because we have a president who focuses on promises he's made, but in the past it's been, oh well, I may run on this, but I'm not.
Right.
I'm not going to focus on that. Let's get back to the whole issue of drugs, because I think that's a major issue in our society, and a lot of people would say, oh, that's an urban issue. That's totally an urban issue. As we found out in Indiana, even some of the most rural counties in Indiana, like Orange County in the south, have a serious problem.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
how serious do you feel the problem is
Oh,
in Kosciuszko County?
It is growing, and I believe that, it's, if you say it's enormous, you don't want to scare people, but the enormity of it and who and how it reaches out. For example, if you have a person who's a mom, a drug mom or a drug family, and that's touching the kids and DCS and juvenile court and all of these fingers that it touches. And it's quite interesting that you bring that up, because what happens is that people, especially people in smaller communities that don't really notice it, what's going to happen several years down the road is they will notice it. If they don't have a neighbor or a friend, they're going to notice it in their budget and in their tax. And this is why, you spoke about, how it really affects, and not only because of the lives that it damages and ruins, is that just our jail, we had a proposal the other day for a security check monitoring system that infiltrated, so if they had it in any orifice, because that's what's happening, is they're putting it in different places in their body, coming into the jail system. And $180,000. People don't understand that if it doesn't affect you from a social perspective, it will affect you from a financial perspective. And I don't think that people realize that it's to that extent, because if you go to church and maybe your friends and your family and you're not really touched by the opioid crisis personally, I think we have a lot of that here because we're a very small town, and we all are most of us have faith, and we live in an area maybe where we feel there's less of that. But in reality, it is growing. It is a fact. And if you don't understand that it's going to affect you socially, and for our children, it will absolutely be affecting us financially.
We used to support Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill in his drug rehabilitation.
Yes, I do.
Jail.
In fact, it's called the JCAP program, and Curtis Hill is promoting a rehabilitation that is implemented in jails, in county jails. And how it works, most of the rehab programs that we have in Indiana are implemented in the prison system. And so in the past, historically, a lot of the rehab in the county jails has just been up to the county government. And so what he's doing is he is giving the counties a tool to adopt an actual program, some type of a program, and he's also allowing counties to apply for grants for seed money to get that program started, to initiate it, to see if it's going to work in their counties. But the great thing is that at that point, then people can locally get treatment and start their rehab program, and they don't have to wait. We have a lot of people in local jails. And so waiting, just waiting for different dates of their trial or however it may work, or to make bail. And so we really, those people are just sitting, waiting for something, and it's great to be able to use that time as a tool to start their rehab.
So for rehabs, not just with drugs, but if they're raised wrong with dysfunctional family.
Yes. Now, every county has the opportunity to use a treatment center. We use the Bowen Center in Kosciuszko County because that's our facility that we contract to.
Right.
Every county in the state is actually, a percentage of their budget is mandated to go to social services care. And so for counseling and different things. So we're fortunate here in Indiana because that is really something that they find as a priority. And so as a county government, we are governed by that rule that X amount of dollars. In fact, we just had the president of the Bowen Center in on our last 2 months ago meeting, and he was describing all the different treatment type things and what they actually do for our county. And it's things like the counseling in the jail, taking someone at a center that's been picked up that needs to go to a facility. So there are many different ways that those centers help the county and therefore, the citizens.
Do you have Planned Parenthood?
No,
Thank God.
we don't.
We have it here in Fort Wayne. But you have pregnancy crisis centers or something?
We do. We have the Heartline Pregnancy Center in
Heartline.
Warsaw. Yes, we're very lucky to have that. So yes, we do. And actually, we are looking at. You're probably familiar with this. The baby boxes that on the fire stations. We have a lovely lady who has been advocating, and I believe she's going to work. Her name is Christy Ormsby, and she is working to try to do a fundraiser to get one in a fire station in Warsaw. So we're excited.
I know Monica Kelsey.
Yes, what a lovely lady. And so we are pretty fortunate that we've got some people who are going to be advocating for that, and so I'm excited for that.
So what's coming up?
What's coming up? Well, other than the election, it doesn't. Whether I win or lose this candidacy, my heart is with the people. I will be involved and be a servant no matter what position I have.
Right.
And I've been lucky that I've had the opportunity to serve in a lot of different capacities in the past. So I've been pretty fortunate.
When you do get to be state rep, what will your duties be then?
Well, the duties are to make sure that the laws that are presented are in the views of your constituency.
Right.
And that's for the whole state. And then the second is actually to provide education and to make sure that we present our issues to the legislator from our district. And the third is to actually get monies and funds. We need someone at the table that's going to fight to get monies for our roads and our schools and things like that. And so it's multifold. So I'm excited.
Thank you, Kimberly Cates.
Oh, thank you so much for having
We're
me.
at the end of our show.
Thanks,
Thank
Don.
you so much. I'd like to thank everybody viewing this show. The election is on May 8th, and we'll see you next week. I hope she wins.
Given to all our fears, God will keep us close from up above. So until we meet again, Godspeed, my love. God is with us always, and for the rest of all our lives, I'll be content